Okay, so we have this part here. This is the body of our nerve. It has a nucleus. That little purple area, that's a nucleus, just like any other cell. Right? Everybody remember that? Okay, good. Now let's say this part right here goes to your big toe, and someone steps on it. Ouch, right? So it sends, this gets a lot of stimulus. Well, that stimulus takes that part of that nerve, the dendrite, and when you stimulate it, it changes it chemically. It changes it so that we create a spark, an action potential that comes down here to the center, to right to this part here. This is called the axon helic. The axon helic is where all these little dendrites send this information, and if there's enough stimulus, at that point it sends, changes the chemistry of this part of the nerve, and it creates a spike. It goes down the nerve, and it spikes as it goes down the nerve. It creates an action potential. Action potential goes from the axon helic to the outside. One direction. It only goes one way. It can't go backwards. It just only goes one direction. It's an exchange of nutrients from one part of the cell to another part of the cell. So as this stimulus goes down the cell, there's sodium and potassium that are being exchanged inside and outside of that cell, making an imbalance or a spark going down that axon. Okay? Remember this, Brittany? Brittany's probably an expert, so make sure Monday you come to supplemental instruction. How many are going to SI now? Jeff, you going?
I don't think I went yet. No.
We can't. Yeah, yours as well as required or something.
Okay. Everybody else going? Alex?
I haven't the last couple of
Haven't
weeks,
usually
but
goes to them.
I usually do.
Okay. Angel, you going?
I've been going the last couple months now.
You haven't gone the last couple times? Okay. Should I ask why? Go. Brittany's smart. She'll help you.
I thought Brittany was a student, though.
Brittany is a student, but she's had this material before. Brittany has gone through this before with in another semester, so she's got some background on it. So don't let that stop you from going. As the nerves heal, they'll come back together and they will grow to a certain degree back together if it's a small tear. So it repairs itself so that the nerve impulses go. But initially, it's dead. So if you ever cut yourself and you get a dead feeling like in your finger, that can be the problem. Right? It will heal itself eventually. When I was in high school, I played baseball. And one day, my mom wanted some wood for Bible camp. So she says, go home, get me some pieces of wood, certain dimensions. She told me exactly what she wanted. So I found this board, and it had varnish on it. Well, she didn't want it varnished. So I didn't want to sand it all off and ruin sandpaper and stuff. So I took the table saw, and I cranked it up just a little bit. Maybe a 32nd of an inch. Just a teeny tiny bit. And I ran that across the top of the saw. Well, it stuck one time, and my fingers went right into the blade of the saw. And I cut 1, 2, 3 of them on 2 hands. Nope, just cut the end zone deep in, just cut the end zone. So oh man, I'm bleeding all over the place. So we went to the doctor, make sure I didn't have to have stitches. Came back, I'm all bandaged up. I was standing behind the catcher, behind the backboard, and it's like this. My hands are throbbing. The catcher missed the tipped ball, went right through and hit me in the face. I said, I'm done. I'm going home. I'm out of here. It was just one of those things. But
did you ever play again?
Oh yeah, but my fingers were numb after that. I just tried to learn how to play the guitar, and I couldn't do it because they were numb, but they were still very tender in those areas. So I never did get to learn how to play the guitar. So anyway, that's what's happening when we're checking these or we're finishing these up. The axons will connect again, and we'll get the impulses going down the nerve to make this all kind of happy and healthy, right? So inside, I should have come to the, we'll go over the nerve impulses and how that axon works. It should be in this chapter, but I don't know, maybe I've got it taken out. Cranial nerves. We have 12 pairs of cranial nerves that come off the brain. Now, to remember the 12, you have to come up with a mnemonic that works pretty good. This one, on occasion, our trusty truck acts funny, very good vehicle anyhow. That will give you the 12 cranial nerves. That's just one of them. The one that we learned in college was a little bit more risque than that. I mean, you can make your own, what you want to do, right? But make it so that you remember it, okay?
When you want to make it a little more specific, because like there's so many multiple letters, like you have 3 O's.
It's very tough because there's 3 O's in the names of them. You got the olfactory, you got the oculomotor. See,
You would have to go real in depth with letters.
you have to figure them out for yourself, which works the best. But these are extensions off of the brain, mostly off the lower parts of the brain. So this is where they're situated on the brain. And you see most of them are down here at the bottom. This is where most of the cranial nerves come out of, the very bottom of the brain. Very primitive areas. These are the ones that are also associated mostly with our special senses. They are the ones that keep us in tune that way. So we have, clear this out. Here's the frontal lobe up here, and this is the olfactory nerve. That's olfactory. Olfactory bulb, it takes information and it takes it down. Olfactory, what does olfactory mean? Smell. Smell is olfactory. It comes right off the nose, right? Here's the optic nerve. This is where the optic nerve is. The optic chiasma, where it crosses. So this side will cross over here. This side will go over here like this from the eye. So let's say we got an eyeball here and an eyeball there. The information goes down this way and it crosses. But it also goes this way. So we can see on both sides of the head, and we have ipsilateral and contralateral connections that way. Then we have the trochlear nerve here. Trochlear nerve is one that helps to turn the eye, more so than the rectus muscles. The trigeminal nerve goes down into the jaw, and it gives you what they call tic douloureux. It's a very painful problem in your jaw. I've had a patient once that had so much pain in her jaw from this nerve being affected. It got infected and then it was kind of raw. She wanted that nerve to be cut. She was going to go in and have the surgeon clip that nerve so her face didn't have pain anymore. It was very painful for her. The abducens is another one for the eye. Then we go over here to the facial nerve. It comes down. Part of it goes down into the face this way. The rest of it goes up. Goes to the back of the tongue. We'll go through each one of them in a little bit. Vestibulocochlear nerve. No, we won't. Let me get through this and I'll let you go. Vestibulocochlear is more for our balance and hearing. Glossopharyngeal. Glossal is tongue. Pharyngeal is the back of the tongue, the back of the throat. Helps to move our tongue. The vagus nerve, this has nothing to do with Las Vegas, and what stays in Las Vegas doesn't always stay in here. So the vagus nerve is a long nerve that goes from the lower aspects. As you can see, right here is the vagus nerve, and it goes down outside of the spinal column, not inside, and goes down to the stomach, small intestine, heart, all those areas as it courses down through the body. The accessory nerve goes to the traps, the upper shoulders, and the hypoglossal. Hypoglossal is below the tongue. So we have the vagus nerve, the glossopharyngeal, and the hypoglossal all stimulate the tongue. So if you're going to go out licking ice cream or French kissing, you're going to use those 3 nerves this weekend.